But it was really an amazing thing. So we did that, and we got into the general, and we all know what happened to the primaries. And they say they were the meanest primaries in the history of elections in this country. And they were mean, they were nasty. And I generally got good support. Ben Carson and Chris Christie and a lot of other people supported. Ultimately, most of them came around. A few didn't. A few came around right after the election, but, you know, that's not quite the same thing. But we started off, and it was amazing, because that evening we were set up incorrectly by the media. They all said that Texas was in play. They said Georgia was in play. They said Utah was in play. And they weren't in play. And I never thought they were in play. He shouts out, liars. Only in Alabama can we do that. Liars. But what happened is we tend to believe the media. You know, we believed Walter Cronkite years ago, right? This is not Walter Cronkite anymore, folks. This is not the great Walter Cronkite. So we tend to believe him. And yet, I'd go out and have crowds like this. You had to see the crowd we had in Pennsylvania, the crowd we had in Ohio and Iowa. Always a massive crowd. And even after the election, this is just a thank you from me to you and the folks. But to have crowds. We had a crowd last night that the manager said was 30,000 people. And I read the Palm Beach Post tomorrow, and, you know, the one that just came out, and there was a line in the second paragraph. Now, it was one of the biggest crowds that I've seen. You couldn't even see the end of it. It was a field. It was actually a field. Last night, Orlando. It was incredible. And I read the Palm Beach Post today. It said, Donald Trump spoke before hundreds of people. I said, right? Very dishonest. Very, very dishonest, but that's okay. Hundreds of people is not 25 or 30,000 people. Do we agree with that? But they know. They know what they're doing. They all know what they're doing, but I guess it didn't work because we're here together, folks, right? The movement. But we've been hearing, and I've been hearing that Texas, and I go to Texas, it would have these massive crowds. We had one crowd in Texas that filled up a stadium. The line was so long, and those are the people that didn't get in. The line was like 30 blocks long. It went all the way back to a highway in Houston. And I said, how are we losing Texas, or how are we tied in Texas? Anyway, but they said Texas is in play. That means we're doing badly, right? Because we're supposed to win as Republicans and Georgia. And as soon as the polls open, they go, breaking news. Donald Trump wins the state of Texas, right? Donald Trump wins. This is like immediately. We win Georgia. We won Utah. And did you see my competition in Utah? This guy came out of nowhere. I mean, my wife said, trust me, he's not doing well. But they had him even with me, and they had me maybe not winning Utah. And by the way, as soon as the real polls came out, we won it in a massive landslide. And that guy, I don't know what he was trying to prove. All we're going to do is lose the United States Supreme Court, potentially. Okay, so let's assume the race was closer, because we won by a lot. It wasn't even close. But let's assume we needed Utah, which frankly we thought we needed. We really thought we needed Utah. And let's assume we didn't win Utah. So what does he gain? You know what he gains? I won't say the name of a magazine guy who worked so hard. So many of these people misread us for 2 years. They misread us, and they're still misreading us, and I love it. I love it. They are still misreading us. So we won them. But then Ohio came in, and we were almost 10 points up in Ohio. We were 10 points, more than 10 points up in Iowa. And Iowa, you never win like that, the Republicans, certainly. And so we won them by big numbers. And then we came down to Florida, and Florida was even. Florida was even that whole night. The big, big, beautiful state. I love Florida. And it's even. And then all of a sudden, we hadn't hit the panhandle, right? Anybody live in the panhandle? Oh, I love the panhandle. And, you know, and you had to see the people. They were so devastated. They were the media, the anchors. So they've been saying for months and months that Trump is going to get absolutely killed. I remember 3 weeks before the election, one of them, I won't say the name, he said, how is Trump going to lead the rest of his life? Because this is one of the most devastating defeats. He will suffer so badly. And his whole career, which is true, which is good, like your football team, right? How good are they? Frankly, all of your football teams, they do well, right? But this guy, and he was saying it with such joy, how is he going to, they were talking about it's 3.5 weeks before the primary. I told my wife, I said, man, that was pretty bad to hear. His whole life has been based on winning. And he is going to suffer one of the greatest defeats in the history of politics. Right, Jeff? That's what they were saying. We were going to lose the presidency. I was going to take down with me the House, and I was going to take down the Senate. And it was going to go down as the single greatest defeat in the history of politics. And 3 weeks later, we had the single greatest victory in the history of politics. That's what they say. We won, you know, I don't know if you know this, nationwide. Thank you. USA is right. Made in the USA. We're going to put that sign up, made in the USA. But, you know, on our products that we're going to start making a lot of. But it was like this, you know, terrible kind of a thing. Now, he was saying it with, he was very happy. But we then went back, and I went back to work. I went really down to work. And I didn't do interviews. All I did is stuff like this, the rallies. And I didn't want to do interviews because they'd cut your sentence off, they'd cut it in half. You'd make a beautiful statement, and all of a sudden you'd say, I didn't say that. Well, when they leave the back part of the sentence off, or they don't talk about the other half of the paragraph, it's not so good, right? And I said, I don't want to deal with these people. And I said, if you want to quote me from the speeches. Now I get nice quotes. But even there, they'll take, like if you're doing a line, a funny line. I'll give you an example of what happened today. One of the papers wrote a story. I was talking, a lot of fun over the last couple of days. I said, you know, prior to the election, you people were strong and vicious and violent, and you wanted to win. Now, I'm saying it kiddingly, right? And you wanted to win, but you were vicious as I've ever seen. And we all were laughing and having fun, right? And then I said, and after the election, meaning last night or the night before where I was in different places, like Pennsylvania. Hershey, Pennsylvania was unbelievable. But I said, and now you're mellow, you're low-key, you're just sitting back, you won, you're chilling out. Okay, so I said that, and everybody laughed, and they had fun. So today, a couple of the groups, I won't tell you which station, but it's ridiculous. They're saying, see, we were right. Donald Trump is calling his people vicious. Donald Trump. He said that. These people are so bad. So we can't have a little humor, folks, because if we have humor, they're going to take it. And, you know, when you report it or write it out, it does sound that way. But when you see it, you know exactly what we're talking about. So they're very dishonest people. But we go down, but we understand we shouldn't change, right? We can't change. Because people get it, obviously, because I think I just heard a statement that we won like 2,700 counties. Where's Kellyanne? Kellyanne, where's our great Kellyanne? Come here, come here. I got to get her up. She told me 2,700. So she didn't know I was going to do this. She didn't know I was going to do this. Where is Hope? Where is Hope? Hope, get up here, Hope. Hope, get up here. She's always on the phone talking to the reporters, trying to get the reporters to straighten out their dishonest stories. Hope and Kellyanne. So Kellyanne, and you've seen her, has anyone like, you know, like how about every day seen her on television, right? So in the history of politics of this country, she is the first campaign manager to ever win as a female. And she did a fantastic job. Kellyanne, tell them about the counties. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hi, again. So, your President-elect Donald Trump won over 2,600 counties. It's huge. He also won 31 of the 50 states, 306 electoral votes. And had any of those graphics on TV, sir, said, road to the popular vote, we would have been in California and Illinois and New York, and we would have won the popular vote. But every graph has said road to 270, so we figured we'll get 306 just to have a little cushion. And there's one other thing that doesn't get a ton of coverage, which I think is incredibly impressive about the Trump-Pence victory. Donald Trump, your next president, turned 200 counties across this country, from President Obama in 2012 to President Trump in 2016.
Now, Hope Hicks is a tremendously talented person. She started off with us right from day one. She used to be in my real estate company. I said, what do you know about politics? She said, absolutely nothing. I say, congratulations, you're into the world of politics, right? She knew nothing. And she was there the first day, and she was fantastic. And I just say a couple of words, Hope. You know, she's a little shy, but that's okay, because she is really, really talented. Hope, say a couple of words.
Hi. Merry Christmas, everyone. And thank you, Donald Trump.
Great job, honey. We had a great team. We had a great team.